If the president were standing here with me today, he would say he works for the American people. I work for him, so I also work for the American people. But his objective and his commitment is to bring transparency and truth back to government, to share the truth even when it's hard to hear.
Now to this breaking news, we are learning that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is in the hospital tonight. We're told after complications following a recent elective medical procedure. The Pentagon says he is recovering well, and he was expected to resume his full duties today. The 70-year-old was admitted to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center on Monday.
His objective and his commitment is to bring transparency and truth back to government.
The Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin ordering a service-wide stand-down for the next 60 days. The goal? Give military leaders the chance to address extremism in the ranks. This comes after the Pentagon was surprised to find veterans and active duty service members among the Capitol rioters last month.
We need your help. I'm talking, of course, about extremism and extremist ideology. Views and conduct that run counter to everything that we believe in, and which can actually tear at the fabric of who we are as an institution. I also want you to share with your leadership your own personal experiences with encountering extremist and extremist ideology in the military.
How big of an issue is extremism in the ranks? Do we know?
Well, that's the real question here. The military hasn't done any really good surveys up to this point to find out just how many folks might be affiliated. Our paper has done one for the last 4 years among our readers. We've seen that about a third of all service members and about half of all minority service members report seeing some signs of extremism, white supremacy. But the military has said they think that's high, but they can't really refute it because they've never looked at the numbers before. So this 60 days should be a chance for them to really assess that and get a sense of whether or not we're right, which we think we are, or whether or not they're right and it's a very small problem.
A new report says, oops, after slandering the troops. It's official. Despite claims of the Biden White House and their media lackeys saying that our military is full of extremists, even their latest research shows that's a lie. And like a gay cousin, the report quietly came out right before Christmas, hoping no one would notice. And why? Because it showed no extremism in the military. Of course, if it had shown the opposite, it would be on the front of every news site like one of Taylor Swift's latest doomed relationships. The DoD commissioned this study, which was put out by the Institute for Defense Analysis. It, quote, found no evidence that the number of violent extremists in the military is disproportionate to the number of extremists in the U.S. as a whole. But you must remember back in 2021, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin ordered military leaders to address this supposed extremist problem after Jan 6 because some veterans participated in the riot. And like maggots on a bone, boy, did the media eat this up. Here's MSNBC, quote, extremism in the military is a serious national security threat. The GOP needs to act like it. Here's CNN. The military has long had an extremism problem. I guess that's called winning wars. What will it do now to finally solve it? And NPR, the military confronts extremism one conversation at a time. So without defining extremism, they say it exists. And why? Because it didn't exist. In other words, they had to create something from nothing, which is the same job faced every day by those in charge of Biden's campaign. But you know what's extreme? Lying about people who signed up to serve their country. But are we really that surprised? This is an administration that smears first and investigates later, if at all. Remember the border agents supposedly whipping migrants when they didn't? Biden trashed those agents and the media applauded. And when the truth came out, no apology was given as the media quickly buried it like a cat turd in a litter box. And why? Well, they were using American citizens to create a lie that our country is rife with racist hate. Therefore, voters would need to cling to Joe and the Dems for safety. In absence of sound policy or ideas, that's all they have. But now, once again, that's shown to be full-on BS. And now the media refuses to cover it. They refuse to defend our maligned troops. Meanwhile, when it comes to the Epstein court filings, the media bends over backwards to point out that all the famous names mentioned weren't accused of any wrongdoing. Apparently, it's innocent till proven guilty when it comes to Epstein's pals. But if you're a Border Patrol agent, a MAGA supporter, or in the military, you're guilty as smeared. If only our troops had better lawyers.